I go where I am known. I go where I'm not an illusion. Where I go, I've noticed. Everybody goes there. Everybody goes there.
Welcome, everyone, and good evening. My name is Carla Berlin, and I'm thrilled to have back with us again this year, no stranger to Around Town TV, founder and president of Flags for Fort Snelling. Please welcome Joanne Malmstedt.
Hello.
It's so great to have you here with us again. We've got lots to talk about this evening. And but for those who haven't or aren't familiar, and they'll see me post about different things for Flags for Fort Snelling, what is it?
So we are a small nonprofit organization, and our main goal and sole mission is just to make sure that every military member that is laid to rest out at Fort Snelling National Cemetery is honored and remembered with a flag that they so rightfully earned on Memorial Day.
Well, and for those who are interested, there'll be you can sign up for emails that come out for just announcements and things. But that's how I found Flags for Fort Snelling. And every year, the last several years, I sign up to have a flag placed on my late father's gravestone, Carl Malcolm Berlin, on Memorial Weekend. And then we connected. And there's so much more to Flags for Fort Snelling. And I'd love if you wouldn't mind sharing, the little bit about the history and background. And now it's your 10th year, so there's a lot that's happened.
It is. So it started by just kind of complete fluke. It was just an effort of trying to show my kids who Memorial Day is really for. Because when my kids were younger, 10 years ago, I got the typical 11-year-old comment from my daughter, whose friends and everything were going and doing these super fun days out on the lake and everything for Memorial Day. And I was like, well, why can't we do that? Like, why aren't we doing that? And I just was like, well, it's Memorial Day. That's, this is what Monday is for. And she just was like, well, I already thanked somebody when we were at the store. And that is when I learned she didn't know the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Oh, right. Like so many people that we know.
And
right.
So I had called, it was on a Friday
Mhm.
before Memorial Day, and I had called Fort Snelling National Cemetery, and it was just before 4:30. So I know that I got somebody on their way out the door, and I said, how can me and my kids help? Like, where do I sign up to help place flags for Memorial Day? And the response I got was, we don't do that anymore. And that was it. And so after an awkward silence, I just said, okay, thanks. And then, like we do in our world now, I jumped on social media and was just like, I can't believe they don't do this. Like, why isn't
Right.
this being done? And, was like, I'm still going out there so I can show my kids this is who Memorial Day is for, if anybody wants to join me. And I had a group, it ended up being a group of 15 of us that met out there on Monday morning. And we put out the really tiny stick flags.
Mhm.
We put out 3,700 of those.
Wow.
And while we were out there, all of the news crews were setting up for the ceremony later that morning. And they asked, what are you guys doing? Because here's this little horde of people with little kids putting
Right.
these little flags out. And one of the people that was with us said, well, we're here because of her here. She put out this thing on Facebook. And so they came out and asked if they could do an interview and asked me what we were doing and why I wanted to do it and why was this important. And I didn't think much of it. They ran an online article right away that morning. And when I saw the response, it blew me away. I was like, we did something good, because most people like me didn't know that it wasn't done.
It
And then
used to though, right? It was done years ago, and
it
then they
was done,
stopped.
a long time ago. But I didn't know that, and I didn't know when it ended and why it ended,
Mhm.
and so a couple days after we did that, I got a phone call from this very gruff man requesting a meeting. and he was the assistant director of Fort Snelling National Cemetery at the time. And I felt like I was being called to the principal's office. I was like, we did something wrong,
Right.
like, oh my goodness. And
Especially with rough and on the other
yeah,
end, you're,
yeah. And so when I
being
got there,
reprimanded.
I get sat down in this office, and within the first couple minutes, I was told, look at the board behind you. And I turned around and looked and said, do you see up in that top right corner? And he said, yeah. He goes, what does that say? And I said, it says Flag Lady. He's like, that's you. And then he softened and he was like, I can't thank you enough for what you did.
Wow.
And he was like, we can't tell people, that this isn't done, and this is why. And he said, but just so you know, we used to do it. We used to do it, it had been at the time when we did that first year,
Mm.
just with our kids and stuff out there. It had been just over 30 years
Oh,
since the
wow.
flags had been placed.
Wow.
And that's when he explained to me why. And I thought all of the national cemeteries were the same as Arlington.
Right. I did too.
Like, what, I don't understand what the difference is. Like, why would it be different? And he explained to me that many of the national cemeteries fall under the VA umbrella.
Oh, okay.
And so they don't have the funding and the staffing and everything like, say, Arlington does.
Right.
And so he said, as we grew, as Fort Snelling grew, they just didn't have the funds to be able to get the flags. They didn't have the foot power to put them out.
Yeah. The
And so-
manpower I know that
Yep.
it takes for you.
It
Correct.
does, yeah. So he
Yeah.
said it just kind of fell to the wayside because of that. And
Wow.
and so between that online article and all of the amazing responses that we got from it, and then talking with his name is John Knapp, who at the
Mhm.
time was the assistant director of Fort Snelling National Cemetery. He's now moved on to a different cemetery, but
Mhm.
he says it's not his fault, but I blame him in a very good way, because I was like, you put the wind in my sail.
Yeah.
I was like, it was just a teaching moment. But by the time I was done talking to him, I was like, I'm doing this, like, this is going to happen. And,
Spearheaded your
yeah,
nonprofit Flags for Fort
absolutely.
Snelling. Wow.
Yep. And so that's kind of all how it happened. And, then we rushed to be able to get, I got a couple friends that were on board, wanted to be a part of it.
Mhm.
And then, I got one more friend joined, and then we had another one join, and it was just a couple of us, and we rushed to be able to get the nonprofit status so we could start fundraising to get some flags for next year. And that's it, just kind of the whirlwind of how it all started. For the very first year, we put out 10,000 of the flags, and we did 27-inch flag staffs.
Oh, wow. So first year was 3,700, then 10,000.
Yeah, so it was 3,700 of just the little stick flags
Mhm.
when we went out that first year. It's just kind of a rogue thing. And then when we went out that first year as a nonprofit, we put out 10,000 of the 20-inch flag staffs.
Wow.
And so we did that. The second year, we were able to increase it to 50,000 of the 27-inch flag staffs. And then that third year, it just took off like wildfire, and we were able to raise enough money in a very quick amount of time to be able to order enough flags to cover the entire cemetery that third year.
And what does that mean? How many flags to cover the entire cemetery?
So that first year, so our third year as a nonprofit, but first year covering the entire cemetery, it was just over, if I remember correctly, 170 to 175,000
Wow.
flags that we were able to put out that third year.
Fantastic. And now you put out how many?
Last year was 193,000, I believe.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
what you're doing to honor
Yeah.
these people. And for
Yeah.
those who aren't familiar, so like when I sign up every year to have one placed for my dad, there wasn't a charge, but I always make a donation for these flags. And not only is there a flag placed, they actually post on Facebook and on their website a tribute to your loved one. and thanking them for their service. And it's just, it brings tears to my eyes every time I see it. And I'm like the proud daughter because he was the proud Vietnam Navy veteran.
Yeah,
So I thank you for what you're doing to honor our veterans.
absolutely. Yeah, those flag placement requests were an idea in the very first year. Because we were only able to place an allotted amount, a small amount of flags,
Mhm.
we came up with the idea to create a flag placement request. So those, around can request, can I get a flag for my loved one? And that
Mhm.
we are still able to honor other people out there aside from just like the small section that we were
Mm.
doing to start.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's how that all started. But now that we're able to, honor everybody, we
Mhm.
still want to make sure that we leave that flag placement request open, because it is still a way for people that can't make it their way out to the cemetery for whatever reason, whether they don't live nearby, medical issues, like
Right.
whatever it is, that they're still able to get that tribute and that picture sent to them of their loved one being honored with that flag.
It's so very special. I look for it. I follow it every year, like, oh, we wait for when it's my dad's turn. Now you've been in the news quite a bit lately for a not so good thing, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on a little bit earlier this year. And so, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so for those that are tuning in right now, if you can see that picture of flags, that isn't dirt, that is mold, and Joanne, one of the reasons I wanted to have Joanne on, she's been on, you were on WCCO and TV and KSTP.
Correct.
And so you may have seen the story there. If not, Joanne, would you please share what happened?
Yeah, so last year was a very wet year for us. It rained, part of the time when we were putting the flags out. Memorial Day, it poured. And most of that week that the flags were out, it was very rainy and wet. And even when we went back that following weekend, Saturday morning, to start collecting the flags, the first, I'd say, good 3 to 4 hours of our collection were all very wet flags because it was still raining.
Yes.
And so what ended up happening is, even though we got the flags to our storage facility and opened up the totes and stood the flags up with fans trying to dry everything out as much as we could, there were about 50,000 flags that we ended up ultimately losing due to the severe level of the mold on those flags.
So right now, Flags for Fort Snelling is in dire need and has been raising funds. And you'll see the link to donate, as well as the website the link that'll take you right to their website. And I wanted to bring Joanna not only to learn so that you could learn a little bit more about Flags for Fort Snelling, but also so that you could learn about what you can do on a small or large level to make sure our veterans are honored this Memorial Weekend. And Joanne, if you wouldn't mind sharing what your intention is, talking about the sealing of the flags and all of that.
Yeah, so what the first 2 years that we were in operation, everything was based out of my garage. And those first 2 years, I water sealed every single flag.
Oh,
And
wow.
still to this day, those flags are pristine. They're perfect.
I
they're
wouldn't
they're
even have
so
thought of
great.
that. So thank you. Right.
Yeah, and so we grew so fast that third year that we just weren't able to do that.
Mhm.
And so now, because of the level of loss that we sustained last year, I want to make sure that we don't run into that level of loss again. So
Right.
I will be going back to water sealing all of the flags.
Okay.
So when we get the new flags
Mhm.
delivered,
Mhm.
I will be going through and water sealing the 50,000 new flags, and then water sealing as many of the existing flags as I can before they go into the ground this year.
Well, and I know that will help protect these and save these for a very long time. And
Yeah.
every dollar donated and every penny spent on their end is more than just the purchasing. It encompasses so much more. Let's touch a little bit on that too.
Yeah, so the only way that we make this happen on every level, whether it's purchasing the flags, the totes that the flags are stored in, any of our supplies that we need, the trucks that we have to rent to be able to get them from storage into the cemetery and then back, Um, literally every penny for us to be able to operate and be able to do what we do every year uh, is only able to happen off of the generosity of donations.
Wow.
And that's the only way that this has started, and that's the
Mhm.
only way it continues, is just by the donations. None of us collect a wage. This is all pure volunteer work on our end. So I like to tell our volunteers that come out to place flags or do any of the other awesome positions that we have. I just make sure that they understand that we're volunteers just like they are.
Mhm.
Because none of us collect a penny or a wage from any of this. So that's really important that I like to make sure that everybody understands that. So when we are saying that we are in need uh,
Right.
for the cost of the flags or anything else, it truly is just so we can keep this going and hopefully to not ever lose the tradition of making sure that we're honoring and remembering everybody out there with a flag.
Well, and that's similar to the Berlin Family Foundation, which is one of the reasons I love to partner with you is we don't take an income either. Everything goes towards scholarships and the kids and expenses to make things happen. And similar to you, and we hope as we grow that we can help partner with you a little bit more. So I really appreciate, anybody that's interested in signing up for a flag, even just send in a $10 or $5 or $20 if you so choose. Every year I try to give 50 to 100 at least because I know that will help, especially this year. And in fact, how many more dollars do you need to replace? That goal was $50,000,
Yes.
right? Yep. How close are you?
So we're getting there.
Okay.
It's been a slow tick
Okay.
to get there.
Okay.
I'm very confident with what we've received so far that we will get there.
Okay.
We will
Great.
be able to do it.
Hmm.
Um, the one issue that we are worried about running into is the time,
Hmm.
because we do order our flags direct from the manufacturer. So we have our flags made for certain specifications for
Okay.
what we need out at the cemetery grounds, because the ones that you buy in the store
Hmm.
won't hold up to the use and everything that we do, and they won't likely won't be able to sustain a couple years or more
Got it.
with the use we have. So what we are worried about is if it kind of slows down with the
Right.
donations towards it, that we're not going to be able to get that order in with enough time for those flags to be made, and
Hmm.
then be able to receive them.
When do you need to get that order in?
What was that?
When do you need to get that final order in?
So we need to get that order in no later than April 1st is when we
Okay.
have to be able to be like, yep, this is the
Okay.
order, here's the check.
So if there's
Because
somebody watching that would like to sponsor and
yeah,
even reach out to Joanne and I can connect you through here and she will be, I'll go back and tag her too, but through the website. But please, if there is something that a special business or corporation or organization would like to do to partner with Joanne, this is the time between with just a few more weeks.
yes,
Yeah,
crunch time.
definitely. Yes, it's crunch time and let's honor those veterans. Let's make sure each of them is honored this year. And with that, I know we were at the time we decided to do this show, we didn't know if you would be or would have announced it, but you did. I was so excited on Sunday. Volunteer registration will open for all positions for Memorial Weekend on Tuesday, April 15th at 10 a.m. So once you submit those taxes, make sure when it opens, though, placements of the slots typically fill within an hour. And there's many important roles available. So please consider, signing up and please consider all of the roles. Joanne, would you touch on what the roles are and what the needs are that weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have positions open on Saturday and Sunday.
Hmm.
Saturday, the positions that we will have open for volunteers is going to be our group placement, which is either corporations, businesses, schools, families, whatever it may be. But those are groups of 10 or more that want
Okay.
to come out together. And
Okay.
we have an allotted amount of spots for those and different opportunities with that for Saturday. Along with that, we also have headstone ushers that we are needed for that Saturday as well. And what the headstone ushers are is they are kind of our point of contact out on the cemetery grounds for the volunteers that are going to go out and place the flags. They're also quality check, make sure that, you know, every row is done, there's no headstones skipped. And then just doing that final check saying, yep, the section's done, and relaying back and forth to us. With the flag placement positions on Saturday and Sunday, those are, you sign up for one, and that's it. So you get your one time slot. And then that's it. The headstone usher positions, you are, with that position, you're able to sign up for multiple time slots. So if you want to come out and do, you know, 2 sessions or 3 sessions, you're able to do that.
Wow.
We also have positions available the Friday before. So if you're going to be out of town on Saturday and Sunday and you still want to, you know, help, we do have bag fillers or tote fillers that we have coming out on Friday. And what those volunteers will be doing is they will be taking the flags from the storage totes and putting an allotted amount of flags into our reusable tote bags that we give out to the volunteers on Sunday. And so they're really getting us prepped for the 1,200 volunteers that we will have out there on Sunday.
Fantastic.
And then on Sunday is kind of like the biggest, the grand finale part of the front end of it. And those days we have positions for the flag placers, the headstone ushers, which are the same exact roles as Saturday. But then we also have a need for merchandise people, and they'll be working the tent and table where we have everybody that can come in and pick up their orders for their t-shirts or sweatshirts or whatever it is that they had ordered. They'll be checking with those people and then giving them their order, because all those orders will be done online, and then they can just pick them up out at the cemetery. Along with our greeters. So when the volunteers get there, those people that sign up for that, they'll be there greeting people coming in, checking their name off. We're going to be doing it a little bit differently this year. So registered volunteers will be getting wristbands. And so then once those people get checked in, they'll be given a wristband and then a map and kind of go from there. And then the other big spot that we have, so if you've already got plans and you're really busy on Memorial Weekend, we are going to be back out there the following weekend doing our flag collection. And so with those, we have the same thing. I'll be looking for headstone ushers that are going to be out there kind of like helping, kind of be a pace and control for those areas. And then the flag collectors. So it's going to be, instead of placing the flags, you're going to be pulling the flags out. And there is the difference from the front end where you sign up for one time slot and you get an allotted amount of flags. On the back end for collection, if you sign up for one time slot and you are like, you know what, it's actually pretty nice out, the sun's out, I'm in a good mood, let's stay. You can stay for the hour or 2 you sign up for, or you can stay for 6, or you can stay till it's done. You know, however long you want, we'll take you on that.
So you have everything ready to roll by Monday, Memorial Day.
Absolutely. Yep. So everything will be completely done. And I don't want to jinx myself, but we have,
you finished early last year.
We have been, so the last couple years, we have been completely finished with the last flag going in the ground on Sunday by like 4:30 p.m.
Wow. That's amazing. 193,000 flags placed in 2 days. And that's because of all of the volunteers that sign up, and those fill up within an hour. So please, when you see that Tuesday, April 15th at 10 a.m., and it's at the same website that the donation link is at. So donate. get your flag for your loved one, and then sign up to be a volunteer and join in the fun. What a great opportunity to honor those who
Yeah.
fought so hard for our freedoms and rights.
Absolutely. And if you go to sign up to be a flag placer and those spots are full, please take a look at any of the other positions that are still there showing that we need people, because it'll still get you out on the cemetery grounds. It'll still get you involved. And
Mhm.
it's those are still just as needed spots as actually being the flag placers.
And you have a loved one that's been buried in the last several years, more recently, correct? At
I
Fort
do,
Snelling?
yeah. My dad, this is the excuse me, this is the second anniversary of my dad's
Oh,
passing now. So he, as of Memorial Day, he'll be out there just over 2 years.
wow.
So, and then his grandfather, my great grandfather, is also
Mhm.
out there.
Ah, fantastic. Yep. My
Yeah.
late father, Carl, and then my uncle Jim Ward is also buried there. So we have some family as well. And is there anything else that we haven't covered in the show thus far?
Just that I want to massively thank all of our supporters, our volunteers, because everybody is so excited about this every year when it comes up and as it gets closer and closer, and we're like us as our team, we're getting excited. It's
Hmm.
just so amazing to see that, the people of Minnesota are like really excited about bringing this tradition back and making sure that it's sustaining and that it's still being done. And
Right.
so I cannot thank our volunteers and our supporters and our donors and everything. Any avenue that you play into our organization, whether you just share our stuff from Facebook or you tell
Mhm.
somebody about us, like I cannot thank you guys enough, because you
It
show
all
us.
helps.
Yes, it all helps, and you show us like why this is important. It can be important to us, but if it's not important to anybody else, it doesn't matter because it's
Well,
not
our
important.
gratitude to all of you for what you're doing and all those that
Yeah,
are supporting Flags for Fort Snelling to honor those brave and courageous men who have fought for us and have served and or are currently serving, but those being honored at Fort Snelling obviously are no longer with us. And what a way
yeah,
to commemorate and remember on such an incredible weekend.
yeah.
Yes. What else haven't we covered that you were hoping to in this show?
Um, I think we might have touched base on all of it.
Good, good.
Yeah,
I took notes from,
yeah,
when we were discussing. So for those, well, I'm going to quickly bring this back in before we go. I want to bring the flag in. This is that's not dirt, that's mold. So we're into crunch time. By April 1st, she needs to order new flags so that every veteran or every headstone that has fought for us is honored on Memorial Weekend. So please, that's 192,000, and you need 50. You're in the process of raising $50,000, correct? Or
correct.
50? Yep. Okay. So please, 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 if you're interested in donating or helping in assisting or becoming a sponsor or whatever it may be, make sure you do so by April 1st when that order goes in, if you can, to help with that. And of course, if you're wanting to sign up as a volunteer to the registration opens on Tuesday, April 15th, tax day at 10 a.m. And if you want to sign up for more information, so that when announcements come out, whether it's about sign up to receive a flag for your loved one, you can sign up on their informational email list on the Facebook link as well. And I just want to thank you for all you're doing to
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
such an honor to know you and to feature you every year on the show. And of course, if any needs that you may have that may come up between now and then, we're happy to have you back on.
absolutely.
And
It's my absolute honor to be able to be here. Thank you for that. And I couldn't be happier that we are in our 10th year of making.
congrats. That's a big deal.
It
Most
is.
organizations and businesses do not make it a year or 2, and if
Yeah.
they do, the rest don't make it 5, and you have. And
Mhm.
let's keep this going. Let's help you grow it, and I'm
Absolutely.
excited for you.
Yeah.
So again,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
You're welcome. And for those of you who have been watching the show or maybe tuned in, you can go back. This will be embedded, but we look forward to having you back next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. as we have, I have a little dog here. My dog's on my lap that flew in front of it. But next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, I should say, we're going to be talking about weight loss and a newer product that I've never mentioned on the show. So tune in to see what that is. Thank you again, Joanne. I look forward to having you back here in the next couple months to talk about other things and or flags for Fort Snelling. But I appreciate you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you all for tuning in. Hope to see you next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on Around Town TV. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.